Chapter 2, Part 1, Crossing the Veil. The large Kitty Hawk class approaches the large Rapture. The crew was alerted by their search and rescue mission of their kidnapped colleagues. But everyone felt it, deep inside their bones. The unknown red and orange veil that was in front of them, an unknown space, an unknown reality. The ship received a wave of the large Rapture as a warning that shocks the deck. "Keep her steady, Cyril." Philo had gripped her chair so tight that her knuckles were turning white. Crazy Horse was pushing through the waves of warning from the dangerous Rapture that was caused by the unknown entity known only as the Loom. Cyril navigates the ship closer as the tip touches the frame, as if it were one large membrane being pushed back by the framework of the ship. The ship was no longer vibrating. The brand new hull plates were screaming by rejecting the immense force it was dealing with of this unnatural push into something that was not meant to happen in the first place. As the ship slowly pushed through the veil, throughout the ship it feels like it gets rewritten. The crew started to experience double vision. Some saw their station transform from their normal looks to a smooth metallic white console, and back as if the skin template was ripped apart from it. The bridge crew felt the waves of chains coming and going, showing fear from it. "Stay focused," Rena reassured them. "We will pull through," a gesture that was appreciated by Vilo. A sudden change rewrites the deck into a wide bridge with metallic consoles and everyone smiling and having light green eyes as the ship pushed further into this new reality. The change, as quickly as it appeared, started to shed and disappear. Some crew rubbed their jaws from the sudden change in facial expression when they returned to their own old self. Cyril, however, was in this whole process focused on her navigational skills. The spatial shear was pushing through into her hollow bones. It was no longer just flying for her, it was trying to fly through a wall of liquid glass that was pushing them back with everything the universe had. With a sudden crack of reality that echoed throughout the ship, everyone was forced to grab their head to cover their ears from the wailing scream of the metal friction. The view screen showed as if it was struck in a frozen frame, but then slowly disappeared. The bright white and orange veil that they were pushing through was replaced by the darkness of space. The screaming engine suddenly cut to death, and it was quiet, hushed. Did they succeed? Did they really cross into a universe that was not their reality? Everyone was looking at each other, confused, confirming that they were still there. As Cyril looked up from her console at the screen, "We have arrived at the Donorius belt." A sight on a view that was one way familiar to everyone, but alienating at the same time. "I can confirm that, Captain. Long-range scanners have indicated that Bajor is in a distance from our current position." Phelan looked at the information that was incoming. "Wormhole location also confirmed. I will start running deep space scans to gain a better understanding of what we are seeing and dealing with." Before Vilo could say anything, T'Prin interrupted her. "Captain, I'm receiving a Starfleet protocol activation. The message reached. Welcome home. Priority sync initialized." She looked up. "It's a handshake. Frontier Day memories pour back in." Vilo's yelled. "Stop it!" "I'm trying," T'Prin calmly and yet panically stated, looking at her console. "Someone has to go to the air comms array to manually kill the cadet connection." Without a moment of thinking, Rena jumped up and rushed to the turbolift. "On my way." She jumped into the lift. "Communication, section communication array. Delay that connection as much as possible." The door slid to a close. "You heard her." Vilo was impressed by her new IXO sudden burst of showing initiative. Commander Ryan supported Lieutenant T'Prin in her duties, both nodding in sync, already doing their best to slow down the connection that was established by the foreign forces. "Already on it," Dara confirmed, sliding the systems and walls to delay the intrusion into their system. Thought confused the Alcars as the system that tried to connect was more similar than alienated. "I need to redirect coding to explain to Alcars that it's not the same system." Meanwhile, in the hallway, Some crew were walking by in the corridors to get to their designated location as Rena sprinted to them, forcing both of them to jump aside. "Sorry, rushing!" She sprinted past them and towards the communication array section. As she slid to the door, waiting for it to open, she pushed into the room and rushing towards the main operating system, opening it. Come on. She saw the system and the linking of the foreign power trying to gain connection. Was it pushing the handle off? Fuck, I got no time for this shit. Rena jumps back and pulls out her phaser as she fires it. Sparks went off in the console, and the humming sound of the array slowly shuts down. Bridge to David, lowering her phaser. "David's here. The system is down, right?" "Yes, wonderful work on shutting the system down, Commander." A wave of relief came over her as she placed her phaser in her pocket. "That is good. I will be returning towards the bridge." "All right. But we do notice that a certain sensor system are down also." She had already walked to the door and looked over her shoulder at the smoking console and shrugged for a brief second. "Well, Commander Ryan might need to send an engineering team here." She walked out of the communication array chamber. An awkward silence was heard as only mention came. "Understood. See you soon. Bridge out." Back at the bridge, Vilo shrugged a bit at her exo comment and looked at Data. "Commander Ryan, please send an engineering team to the chamber to, reverse the damage." She raised her hand, knowing that her chief engineering would protest against the exo's action. She acted in a fashion that the timeline would force her to do so just do it. With some protest, Dara just nodded as Valet's facial expression got cold as he looked up. "Captain, there are primary images of Bajor that I could use so far." He sliced the image of his console in onto the main screen. "This is the reality of this universe." What was shown was not a beautiful garden world of Bajor, no. What they saw were large spires, kilometers high, like mechanical needles piercing the Bajoran atmosphere. Vilo stood up from her chair and looked at the screen. Her breathing went quicker. Even thought it was not her home or her reality, it still was home for her. "Commander, what are we looking at right now? What are those structures?" Taking a deep breath as Valet looked at the console. Initial scans show traces of Borg technology. The readings of life are not coming from the street level, they are coming from those spheres. It seems so from what I can see so far from the scans. Bajor is completely assimilated into the Borg collective, Captain. Her hand automatically went to her mount as a wave of nausea came over her. These people, her people, were mindless zombies. "Then we have to stick to our plan. Do you have a read on Lieutenant Zira and Lieutenant Cell's location?" A voice came from the turbolift as everyone looked in the direction. Seeing Rena had returned, she walked to the captain and, with some hesitation, she patted her shoulder and gave her a nod of understanding. But the situation was not there to stay hooked onto it. Turpin looked at her scans and then at Dara and finally back at Rena. "We need time to figure out the signal in the biometric mat of our crew without pinpointing to the wrong person. Make it our priority, both of you," Vilo finally said, lowering her hand as she sat down back in her chair. But before Turpin could respond, an alert went off as a Cardassian ship, decloaked, coming from the direction of the Cardassian side of the border. The ship was in the Gaylord class, known to some of the bridge, but it looked ancient, required a refit, and was damaged in certain spots. "We are being hailed by the CUW Demar." Looking at the screen, Vilo could see it change to the old relic ship on screen. The screen changed, but not for the betterment of the view. A Cardassian captain had an old uniform. He looked honestly terrified as his eyes searched the bridge as if he saw strangers or faces that were not supposed to be there. Who are you?" He looked at his side as if he was looking at a fellow officer on the bridge and back, raising his hand. "I don't care, just if the Hive detects your discord here, they will come. They will correct the defect and take the entire sector with it. We are living in the shadows of old, so they will police their so-called peace. Please, go." Velo had little to no good experience while dealing with the Kardashians, and this was a situation that felt strange to her. She didn't see the arrogant prick that wanted to show off his glorified dignity. He was a man, afraid of whatever this hive was or presented to be. I'm Captain Jorda of the USS Crazy Horse. We are here for a specific goal and are unknown of what happened here at the last. Unbelievable. You lived under a rock for 20 years? You are utterly blind or very lucky. The man looked confused by this declaration of ship name and explanation. Please, just go. Do not bring their light to us. The main view screens changed to the ship that didn't charge their weapons. It was just standing its ground as a sign of pure and yet trembling compliance. Tapping on the console, we have to pull to safety, Captain. Long-range scanners are showing that the automatic weaponry is shifting in orbit of Bajor, Vlad confirms. Velo leans back in her chair. Cyril, get us into the grey zone, whatever is left of it, now. She orders as the ship engines tune on and the ship warps away, crossing into Cardassian space. Get Gavad up to date and let his wings be ready. I need eyes out there, and the Crazy Horse is too loud to be here, so I'll leave it to the Red Barons to stretch their wings. About the hell they landed in, it now makes more sense why the null report came back. The Borg, or whatever this is, made sure nothing would pass by them. Vilo could only hope her crew members were safe, wherever they were now.